This is the one thing that you cannot skip out on when creating your product listings for your print-on-demand business. I work with several students every month with one-on-one coaching or in my mentorship group, the POD Connection. Link in the bio always if you want to join. But the number one critique or area of opportunity that I see is within a shop's listing images. Your listing images sell your product and convert eyeballs on your listings to sales. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how to optimize your listing images so that you can improve your conversion rate. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Taylor and welcome to a new series here on my channel called Creating Listings That Convert. I am going to be doing a deep dive into the specifics of a highly optimized listing, what that means, and how you actually do it. If you haven't already, be sure to boop the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any future videos. On Etsy, you are allowed up to 10 listing images with every listing that you create. Do I think that you need to use all 10? No. Can you? Sure. The main purpose of your listing images is to sell your product. So if you can do that in just 3 images, then you would use 3 images. If you need 10 images in order to do so, then you would want to use 10. But the message here is that the quantity doesn't matter, the quality does, which we'll dive deeper into what that looks like here in a second. I am a research gal, so of course I did a little research, and it's important to know that 85% of purchasing decisions are actually made subconsciously. Customers are often being influenced by a visual that they are seeing. That visual can spark emotion, which then leads to most purchases. I have, in fact, been guilty of emotional purchases. And so thinking of visuals, your listing images, that brings the importance of having high quality listing images, and the first way that you can easily improve the quality of them is with branding. Now, before a keyboard warrior gets down into my comments and says,
Etsy is not for having a brand. You do not create a brand on Etsy. Branding is not important.
I actually agree with a lot of those statements. I don't think that most customers go to Etsy and make a decision off of a brand on Etsy. I think they go with the intention of looking for something specifically that they're searching for in the search bar, and then they find it and they buy it, whatever that might be. But the reason that I mention branding and talk about branding often on my channel is not to be a recognizable brand, but instead to have a trustworthy and high quality feel. The purpose of shop branding is not about you or your shop, it's about your audience and the perceived value of what you're selling. The best way to achieve branding within your listing images that gives a high quality and professional feel are to keep them simple. Less will always be more, and what this can look like is picking 2 to 3 colors maximum. Use them consistently through things like your shop logo, shop banner, size charts, color charts, or really any other listing images that contain product information. Another way to keep this cohesive feel is to limit yourself to about 2 different fonts. One might be a heading type font and the other a body font. I recommend sticking to a serif or sans serif type font and avoiding any type of script font that might be difficult for the customer to read. Now, when it comes to the listing images that I recommend to have, there are 5 main images that you need, and these may just vary slightly depending on the product type that you're selling. The first type of listing image that you will want to have is showing the product, or this might be thought of as your mock-up images. It is important to use high quality mock-up images that accurately display what your product will look like for the customer receiving it. In my time in the print-on-demand space, I have spent quite a lot of money on mockups. I've invested into mockups in many different ways. The first investment that I made into mockups when I was just beginning was with Placeit. Placeit is actually a subscription type service. So you pay a monthly fee, and then with that monthly fee, you get access to an entire library of mockup images. So this can be a little bit more bang for your buck if you are just starting out. The other way that I have invested in mockups is directly on Etsy. What you can typically do is just type in the exact product that you are looking to find a mockup for and follow that product name by the word mockup, and then you will find tons of different options for that product type. But I will create a little section in the description of all of the links to my favorite mockup shops where I bought mockups from for various different product types. When you do purchase mockups directly on Etsy, a lot of the time times you are buying them a la carte or just individually, but I found that a lot of mockup shops actually typically have bundle deals where you can get a bunch of different mockups for a little bit more of a discount. So typically I always find these bundle deals and discounts in the shop banner. So if you're ever shopping around looking at mockups, check out the shop and check out their shop banner if they have any specific codes, or if you have to have a certain amount of mockups in your cart to receive a specific discount. Another important consideration when it comes to investing in your mockups is to think about your target audience. If you are selling an item that is geared towards men, for example, we have Father's Day coming up. If you're selling a Father's Day t-shirt or a t-shirt that is geared towards men, it will be important that you are portraying that product on a male model if you're using a lifestyle type mockup. So think about your audience and make sure that you are using mockup images that not only are high quality, reflect the product accurately, but also connect with who they are geared towards. The second type of listing image that I recommend is having the product highlights. This should include just some key details about your product and what makes your product great. You can typically find a few highlights about your product actually with your print provider. So for example, I like to use Printify, and in Printify's catalog, what I'll do is click into the product and scroll down to the bottom, and that's where you can see a little bit of key information about the product. I will just take a couple bullet points from this area and add it onto a personalized info card that I can then include in my listing images. Some of these product highlights can be a little bit lengthy on Printify, so you want to make sure that you are summarizing, keeping it brief. Every time I think about this, I think of this meme from The Office: why waste time, say lot word when few word do trick. But really it is so true. You don't want something that's super lengthy and wordy. Remember that these listing images, they're gonna look super tiny on your customer's phone as they might be scrolling through Etsy. So keep it short, keep it brief, little bullet points that somebody can read easily at a glance. The third listing image that you are going to want to include is some type of sizing information. You can get all of the sizing information for your product actually in the same area that we just found the product highlights. So all of that information is easily accessible for you so that you can provide accurate measurements for the product that you're selling. And sizing information isn't just necessary for apparel, it's also important for any other product type that you're selling. You want the customer to understand what they're going to be receiving, what it's gonna look like. For example, if you have a tote bag, you're gonna wanna include the height and the width of the tote bag, or if you have a mug, how many ounces can that mug hold? These are all types of sizing information that you are going to want to include within your listing images. The fourth type of listing image that you are going to want to include is some color information. Are there different variations available for the product that you're selling? If so, you want to showcase those different color variations in a listing image so that your customer has an idea of what those different variations will look like, and they can make a more informed purchasing decision. As you're thinking about all of these different listing images and key details that you should be including throughout your listing images, it's important to think about what types of questions a customer might have about your product as they are looking through these images. Your goal with any of the images that I've mentioned thus far is to answer those potential customers' questions throughout them. When our customer has less questions and more answers about the product within these listing images, they are more likely going to feel confident in purchasing this product, and that means that they are going to be more likely to convert and purchase the product, which means a sale for you. Another little bonus tip when it comes to color variations, you can actually link the variations of your product inside the Etsy listing. When you scroll down to the area that has all of the products that you're selling in the listing and their SKU numbers, you will see a little button at the top right called Link Variations. You can link specific variations to specific listing images in this section. I highly recommend doing this when you have images that reflect the different variations of your product. For example, if I have a t-shirt and I'm showing the t-shirt in a specific color in one of my listing images, I can link that specific color that I have within my options in the listing to that specific listing image. What that will do for the customer is when they go into the drop-down menu and click the specific color that they are looking to purchase, it will automatically pull up the listing image that is correlated to that specific color. Again, just making sure that the customer has a great experience and they know exactly what they're potentially purchasing. The fifth and final listing image that I highly recommend having is some type of validation or social proof listing image. And the best way to do this is to include product reviews. This can be pulled from the product reviews that you have down below the product or within your shop as a whole, and including those different text reviews, as well as maybe you have a review from a customer where they showed an actual photo of the product that they were super happy with receiving. This is something that you could also include in these listing images. I do want to add just a little disclaimer with this. I do think it's a best practice to reach out to the customer and just ask for their permission to use that photo in your listing images. Here's a sample listing that I created that features all of the information that I just shared throughout this video. As you can see here, I have 7 different listing images for this specific product, and I start with just having my mock-up image here, just showcasing the design on one specific color. This is for a sweatshirt listing. And if we scroll through, the second listing image I have here is my color chart. Thinking back to branding, you'll start to notice that I use the same 2 fonts throughout all of these different listing images and the same color palette through all of them as well. Scrolling down, we have the size chart. I include the product name as well. Then I just have 2 more mock-up images for this specific product. And then here we have our features and benefits. These are just the product highlights that I like to include. All of this information was found directly on Printify in the product catalog. So I just added that this is a unisex heavy blend sweatshirt, has a ribbed knit collar, no itchy side seams, made from polyester and cotton. If you are selling apparel, it's great to add what the product is made of and sometimes even the percentages of each. So for example, it might be 80% cotton, 20% polyester, and sometimes with apparel, you do have to be a little bit more mindful as certain color variations might have a slightly different makeup than others. And then lastly, I just added this little review card. You can showcase some of your best reviews in this section or even images. As I mentioned earlier, just be sure to ask the customer if you are using a photo that they submitted. Just a good best practice. And this is exactly what I would do for a listing. Additionally, what's great about this is this now serves as a template for me. So the next time that I go to list a sweatshirt like this, the only thing that I have to do is actually just swap out the design, as well as if I am offering the sweatshirt on different color variations, I would want to make those changes in the color chart or potentially even change out some of the main mock-up images that I use for the next design. But overall, I like to keep it pretty consistent and pretty simple. That has really streamlined my efficiency when it comes to creating new listings for my print-on-demand business. If you like these specific branded listing images, then I do have a link to my digital shop, my mock-up shop in the description. I sell the branding kit that has all of these different listing images that I included in the video, as well as all of these additional listing images. If you found value in this video, be sure to boop the like button and comment down below what you want to see next in this series of creating listings that convert. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one.